Welcome everybody to MexBox number 9. I decided to do a little intro because I'm wearing my Halo Wars vintage shirt that I can fit into it again. A little bit about this shirt. I mentioned it before. My mom, rest in peace, she loved watching me play Halo. She knew that I was doing a lot of, online matches, which I was pretty horrible at. I'm still pretty horrible at. But she knew she liked the game because of the Gregorian chants. She was a very religious lady. And one of the things that happened was, she recognized the Halo logo. She loved to show up at Walmart. That was her thing after church. So that's the story of how I got this shirt. And yeah, I fit into it again. When you're stressed, working, studying, going to medical classes, and just working at 4:30 in the morning, you kind of get tired. These little things come up because of stress. But anyways, that's my Halo Wars shirt. And this is my little microphone that I use to, interview people for my other podcasts. I have one for DC Comics and one, for Xbox. Anyways, so I decided to do this intro. I don't wear makeup, obviously. I know that some YouTubers do. It's nothing wrong with that. I don't have anything against it. It's just, whatevs. But I wanted to do an intro for the Scorpio. Just because, I wanted to get, right down to the chase. So let's get started. Alright, so we're going to start off with a couple of shout-outs. I will be giving a shout-out to the Record team itself. I did a couple of pictures of my unboxing of the statue. I thanked them on Twitter, and they were nice enough to say, hey, thank you. They liked my tweet. I did this under my public, display from Wildcard Comics, my corporate, self. I am a comic book artist, so this is my, corporate account where I discuss everything related to comic books, society, pop culture, and obviously gaming. They also did that for my MexBox account on Twitter. If you've been following it, thank you so much. So as you can see, they gave me a like for both, which I think it's pretty awesome. So thank you, Recore. Go ahead and support them. The other surprise is that during the Quantum Break 1-year anniversary, I posted to Remedy Entertainment. I told them it was my favorite game of last year. Kudos. I bought it twice for that special edition goodies that was available only for PC. I'm not a PC gamer. I have a Mac. But I bought it just because I was interested in the Blu-ray with the making of features, and it's nice to have a PC copy of it, just in case I get a, Surface in the future. But the good news is that Sam Lake himself liked my tweet. Again, we're lucky to have developers like these, working for Xbox, who are very close to the community and are actually very respectful. One of the things before we get into the Xbox jargon, I would like to run this video for you. That let's get with the video, and then I'll run the video eventually. Well, I don't know if you know, but Digital Foundry did their reveal yesterday at 6 in the morning of Pacific time. I think 9 Easter. And it was pretty damn cool. It was just a quick 15-minute video, and it wasn't so much a reveal. It was more of a tech analysis, and they released the specs or specifications, as you can see over here. The gold represents the Scorpio, green Xbox One, light blue vanilla PS4, and dark blue PS4 Pro. And as you can see over here, a lot of people were very much concerned with the way they say, well, it was a Jaguar. That was speculation by the Digital Foundry guy. It hasn't been confirmed that it is a Jaguar. If it is a Jaguar in the future, it's going to reveal that it's a custom Jaguar. Because if you go out there and try to buy a Jaguar with this much specification close to this, it doesn't quite exist. It looks more like like a Polaris chip. So that myth is dispelled, and you look at all the haters. That's what they're talking about. They're talking about, it's still a Jaguar. I thought it was going to be something more powerful. But let's go ahead and listen to what the Digital Foundry guy said, which I think it's going to help you out. And before we do that, let me show you the video that I'm talking about to show you what led to this kind of creation of the architecture as an example of how software is better than hardware. Because you can have the greatest software on the world, but if your software sucks, it's gonna crash on you. So let's. This is an old video that I did as soon as the Xbox One was released, and I bought it. People were saying that it was slow, and the thing is that the original Xbox One had 3 systems going at once, seamlessly. Now, mind you, this one is not hooked up to the cable box, but that's another element, that's another layer that it was working. So let me show you this from several years ago, I think almost 3 years ago. Alright, so over here we have Forza Motorsport 6. I'm also running it as a game DVR, so I have 2 programs. As you can tell, I can go back and forth between both, but then, I am also doing a third thing on this Xbox One. So for all of you that's saying that it's underpowered, there you go. I'm downloading Tomb Raider for free, and I am still able to play a game, use a DVR to record it, and a fourth thing, the Kinect is working. So I can do voice commands and record things on the go. I can also do gestures and things like that. But not only that, at 15% of installation with Tomb Raider, I am actually able to play it. See? Ready to start. Oh, I lied. 9% installation. I can go ahead and do it. But it gets better. I actually have this little guy updating as well. And when that guy is done, I'm going to update my iPad as well. You can see over here. So, this so-called underpowered Xbox One. Cool. Nice shout out to Crap Gamer. He was online at the time. And he's my friend on Xbox Live. He's a nice guy. Big shout out to the BGST community. So as you can see, the Xbox One originally had all these features going on at once. One of the things that has kept me from buying a rig, the PC Master Race, is that a PC tower just for gaming, it's kind of a hassle. Like you don't buy a kitchen just for veggies. You don't buy a kitchen just for pastries. If I had a patisserie, maybe, but that's a business we're talking about. So having a gaming rig just for gaming, and if you use it for other things, it might slow it down. You want to have it dedicated for gaming, and just kind of keep up with it, and just buy new chips and tweak the motherboard, and just dude, no. A lot of people treat their PCs like cars that you tweak out and put new rims and nitrous and flashy lights and stuff. I'm like, dude, I just want a car that takes me from point A to point B. Same thing. That's why I'm a console gamer. I want something that works as soon as I pop it in. You know, so the original Xbox had a lot of systems going for it, and basically, the way the Xbox Scorpio is able to overcome bottlenecking is pretty mind-boggling. I'm not a very technical guy, but I will let the Digital Foundry explain it far easier than I can.
Microsoft, though, has targeted optimizations at the silicon level aimed at improving coherency between CPU and GPU, and it has targeted lower latency as a priority. Now, if the processor cores can't access data from memory owing to bottlenecks in the pipeline, it effectively stalls. So, increased frequency and lower latency are key to the custom CPU improvements here. But there is more. Now, at the front end of the GPU sits the command processor, which kind of takes the instructions from the CPU and, well, processes them. And here's where things get really interesting. Microsoft's engineers have effectively made a hardware implementation of DirectX 12 integrated directly into the GPU command processor. Draw call instructions on the CPU that would typically require thousands of instructions are now reduced to just 11. Yes, 11. State changes that are also heavy on CPU are now cut down to just 9. Microsoft tells me that this custom hardware alteration should drop CPU rendering workload by half on titles built on DX12 renderers. Games like Star Wars Battlefront, Battlefield 1, Gears of War 4, and the latest Forza titles, for example. Audio processing can be CPU intensive too, and this can also be offloaded to the dedicated silicon on the Scorpio engine.
So there you have it, guys. Thousands of instructions are cut down to 11. You know what that means? No more bottlenecking. And that thing is beautiful. It goes to show you that, having multiple systems work on the original Xbox was tasking, but they're able to get rid of all of that, so that they can have multiple systems and get rid of bottlenecking for the DirectX video games. This is not available in any motherboard, okay? So if you guys out there with the PC Master Race, you guys are in for quite a shocker, because, this chip's not made of gold, and it doesn't do like quantum computing, but because they're able to, get rid of bottlenecking, that is a game changer for all gaming. And that's something that a lot of websites are not going to cover. I'm not even a freaking technical guy, and I'm pretty damn, amazed. Again, here are all the specs, you can tell that. Now imagine being able to get rid of bottlenecking, and you still have all this power ahead of the PlayStation 4 Pro. That is pretty damn amazing. Again, for more technical analysis, go elsewhere. But all you have to know is that this is a beast, and it got rid of bottlenecking, which is pretty damn awesome. Now, the other two bits of information are the nice pun, are the 384-bit memory bus. With 320 gigabytes of bandwidth. I think that's pretty damn awesome. You have a giant amount of memory for this little thing. And again, it's going to be a beast. Now, for a lot of people who are saying that the Scorpio reveal was disappointing, well, first of all, this wasn't the Scorpio reveal. This is like getting a list of the recipe of a very delicious pie, along with a very few pictures that what the pie might look like on the inside and the outside. So this isn't a pie. You're not eating the pie yet. Secondly, the real reveal will be on Sunday, June 11th, as you can, see from this graphic that was released by Microsoft. Mark your calendar. We moved to Sunday. Does anybody in gaming media remember that? Okay. Third, Where are the articles of the PS4 reveal being disappointing when all they showed you was the controller? Yes, media, screw you. Now, here's the fun part. One of the things that many people were not talking about in all these podcasts was this gorgeous looking fan. I can see that they're using green and aquamarine for this presentation. The animated Xbox chip looked pretty damn impressive, as you can see. And also this fan is using those graphics. I think that the logo for the Xbox Scorpio is going to be aquamarine. I think the outside's going to be metallic. Metallic and aquamarine looks pretty damn good. But yeah, this is a custom cooling station. It's pretty substantially in size. And if it's a custom built one, you're probably not going to be able to put it in your so-called PC master race. All right, you're not going to be able to put it in your rig. So that's another thing that people should be talking about. You know, all these announcements, the custom motherboard that gets rid of, bottlenecking, this custom cooling station, a 4K disk drive, and not to mention a 4K capturing machine. How much is that going to cost you on the PC? And it's still, going to have bottlenecking issues because the motherboard's not there, So yeah, I'm waiting for people to answer these questions, and which they obviously can't. Now, I don't usually like to get into beef with anybody, but I was listening to a podcast, a very prestigious podcast, which I respected, and come to find out a couple of the people on the podcast don't even own Xboxes, and they're giving you opinions about Xboxes. That's like me giving you an opinion on gay marriage when I'm, hetero. It's like, dude, why? You're not even gonna be like, what? It's like, I don't really care. I care that they have rights like everybody else. That's good, but otherwise, I don't really care. Unless they're being oppressed, and I'm like, hey, no, knock it off. So I don't like to oppress people, even if they choose the PlayStation 4. But the problem is that here, let me play you the soundbite, and let me ask you what's wrong with it.
I saw a conversation on Twitter today, and I'd love to get your guys' take on this. I saw a conversation on Twitter today where somebody said, do you think the Scorpio will pull people away from PS4? And I thought about that. Somebody asked me that, and I thought about it. And for somebody like me, I game on PS4, but it's because I've played on a Sony console since the very beginning of the PlayStation 3. All my trophies are there, and therefore I am invested in this ecosystem. I have no loyalty to a plastic box beyond that. So I don't see myself grabbing one simply because I can't. I'll play. I will play Microsoft first-party exclusives on it, but I won't play anything else. And I'm one of those guys that I do not buy consoles for first-party games. I don't. Because there are far more good for third-party games than there are first-party games. I think that's a fact. I don't think anybody can argue that.
Except Nintendo.
Except Nintendo. I will agree with you on that. And that's the great thing about this gen, right? Is people say, oh, this console has better exclusives. I'm like, guys, nobody has better exclusives than Nintendo. I mean, let's just call it what it is. But I don't see this pulling dedicated PS4 players away from that console. At least not supplanting it as their primary console. But I wanted to see what you guys thought about that.
Yeah, dude, you do have loyalty to a plastic box. You just said you don't buy exclusives on another console. I mean, come on. That's to me what this sounds. It's like people who are like, I'm not racist. I just like hanging with this particular race. Dude, you're racist. Or like people who are like, well, I am not bigoted. I don't hate all religions. But I am concerned about this one. Yeah, you are a bigot. So, whether or not PS4 people want to come to Xbox, I really don't care. One of the things that is surprising is that a lot of casuals buy the PlayStation 4 because They were told by the media that, higher resolution makes you a better gamer, right? So yeah, I do expect people to come to Xbox Scorpio because the multiplats are going to be better. If you are any kind of smart person who games on gaming leagues for multiplats, you will want this one. Now, let me show you all these games that I brought in last time, because one of the reveal of the specs for Scorpio, oh man, I have to show you this stupid machinima. There you go. Machinima, one huge flaw with Project Scorpio. Gaming news. I'll save you the trouble. They said it was games, but they are using, their sponsor is Dell Gaming. So they're trashing the competition to PC Gaming, which also runs on Windows 10. Freaking idiotic. They're saying that, there's, it has one huge flaw. Games. And I've already showed you. Let me show you all the cool games. Remember last week when I showed you that there's still tournaments for Halo 5. There's still tournaments for Gears of War. There's the Spring Formal. Spring Formal for Forza 3. So we have all these tournaments that people are still playing. I mean, when was the last time you had a PlayStation exclusive that had that much tournaments? I mean, for freak's sakes, man. Remember when Street Fighter 5 had to shut down a couple of their tournaments because the servers sucked? Yeah. Do you remember that? Google it. Because the media, it's quick to forget it. So, Machinima says, where are the games? Where are the games? Where are the games? The games have already been there. Somebody leaked about 100 games. They're going to be compatible, with the Scorpio, with 4K. Now, some people might be like, well, those are just like upscale resolutions. Well, the thing is that there's more games than just these 100 games. For instance, one of their complaints was, why would a casual buy it? Well, first of all your 300 or your 360 games will work. There's even a rumor that the old Xbox might work there as well. So you have 3 generations of gaming available on Scorpio, day one. Anti-aliasing, anti-degeneration will make your older games more faithful, more fluid. Not only that, but you're going to have 4K gaming for more than 100 games, apparently. 4K broadcasting and beam, which cuts down the latency and is more faithful than Twitch. All right, you're going to have 4K capture for your YouTube channel. So all you idiots out there on YouTube who are trashing this, you will use this to capture 4K because it's cheaper and the architecture is stronger. Not only that, you're going to have a 4K UHD multimedia. So if you want to watch those awesome playthroughs from 4K, this is the place to view them. I know China is really big on League of Legends. What better to broadcast League of Legends on 4K? If Xbox One could just land that title, boom. Amazing. And yeah, dear Machinima, I have to ask you, gaming muckfrapper, do you speak it? Let me do this again. Scorpio, the most powerful console ever built. Reveal, mark your calendar. E3. You want games? That's where the motherfucking games are going to be. Whoops. I just swore. No, but seriously, that's where the games are going to be announced. This wasn't the reveal of Scorpio. This was the reveal of put it up on the board, the specifications of the machine. Again, the media is not very smart, Now, the other thing, I will conclude with the games in a second. Screw it. Let me show you the games. One of the wonderful things is that they showed you is Xbox One Forza 6 running on Scorpio. There you have it, guys. There is the nice comparison. Look how great that looks. This is the actual picture, as you can see. Up there, they're showing you 60 frames a second with only using 66.19% of the GPU. Now, that's as high as the maximum number of cars going in there, and this isn't optimized. It only took them 2 days to transfer the old video game to the new 4K resolution. Look how great that looks. Old, new, old, new, old, new. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I love it. Now, the last thing that we're going to do, it's a pricey thing. You know, people are like, well, what if it's too pricey? I'm like, well, it's a video game, dude. It's not groceries. Gaming is a hobby. Just like any other hobby, you decide what's this pricey for you. You know, I like comic books. You know, DC Comics just took down their price from $4.99 on most titles to $2.99. That stuff is cool, you know. But people are like, well, I wouldn't pay $3 for a comic. It's like, well, you know, I'm an artist. I make comics, and I appreciate a nice price point. You know, so I've also loved, you know, books. You know, like and I've been known to drop like $90 on a hardcover alone. I have tons of books. You know, people might say, oh, that's too pricey. I'm like, dude, I love books. It's my hobby. When I don't have money for books, I don't freaking buy them. You know, I have bills to pay. I have school to pay. I have health insurance to pay. You know, this is a hobby. Gaming is a hobby. You know, hey, people that have mentioned, well, I can just build a PC. Well, you can build a PC. It's probably going to cost you like 2 times as much, you know, and not to mention that the 4K monitors are really pricey. It's better to buy a 4K TV, you know. And, you know, like I said, I don't like to tinker with my entertainment, you know. It's like I have a mechanical pencil when I draw. I bought a Mac so that it was easier to use when I do Photoshop and video editing and all kinds of things, you know. So, you know, for instance, people are like, well, what if I just get the 4K Pro? 4K, you know, they can do 4K, right? I'm like, hell no. They do checkerboarding. You know, they basically take a 2K picture and bump it up to 4K. I'll explain it to you, okay? If I have $2,000 and I count them twice, does that make it 4,000? F no. That's what PS4 Pro does, but with pixels. Now, if that's fine with you, then by all means, let me borrow $4,000 and I'll pay you back $2,000 checkerboarding dollars, okay? You just count $2,000 twice. We'll call it even, right? And, you know, that's the thing with this this machine. It does wonderful things. Anyways, that's my little spiel for my podcast. I am very excited. It doesn't surprise me that there's haters because they do it for clicks, you know. I was just I love soccer, you know. There's these douchebags on ESPN who are like, hey, you know, what is it? They interviewed this they interviewed the coach of Real Madrid, and they're like, are you gonna be starting to like look for players for next year? He was like, I don't know, man. The next year and just next year. I'm just focusing on here. Guess what ESPN did? They're like, oh my god, he's totally quitting. He's not sure if he's going to be next year, blah, blah, blah. And that's what the gaming media does. You know, just because the guy from Digital Foundry was like, well, it kind of looks like Scorpio has a Jaguar CPU. The media's like, oh my god, they have a Jaguar CPU. It totally talks. But they don't cover how the infrastructure is getting rid of the bottlenecking. Again, I'm not a technical guy, and it amazes me how stupid the media can be. Anyways, that's all we have for you guys tonight, and I am pretty damn excited. You know, just knowing how great my games are going to be, how great my experience is going to be with multiple systems running on my new Xbox Scorpio. I'll be able to stream in 4K. I'll be able to record in 4K. Oh my god. I have a 4K TV. Now everything's going to look super pretty. Xbox One S, I already have it. But guess what? I'm going to buy the Xbox Scorpio. I have 3 Xboxes in my house. 1 in the main living room and 1 in each bedroom. My girlfriend's going to go to next town over for, college. Guess what? She can take the Xbox One S. I'll buy the Scorpio for the room. It's going to be amazing. So there you have it, guys. Anyways, I hope you enjoy the video. And go ahead and support Project Scorpio. Change your little icon on Twitter for the Scorpio M. It's awesome. Alright, guys. This is MexBox signing out. Peace.